I wish you wouldn't take those stairs so fast. They're wicked. You could catch your foot and fall. I had a bit of headache and lay down. Matty, darling, what's the matter with you? You're grey as wasps' nests.
I'm to be the mayor. No more that plug who runs a court cafe and owes his ear to every deadbeat sport with a favor in mind and 10 cents for a ball. But mayor of Brooklyn, and you the mayor's lady. They caught Ned Quinn with his red fist in the till, the party of reform, I mean. And we are going to beat their game with restitution and self-reform. Well, say something, can't you, Kate?
Matty.
Jesus. Are you crying? I've what I wanted since I landed here 12 years ago, and she breaks into tears.
You said I'm...
What? You're what?
afraid.
Kathleen, please, now don't let's go into that again.
Would you have me tell you lies?
I'd have you brave. Where are you going, Kate? To have a sulk? Wait, now, I'll fix a sugar teat for you. Unless, of course, you'd rather suck your thumb brooding in your room.
I have the name as well to have the game.
It's riddles.
Oh, riddles be damned. You think me idiotic? I might as well fulfill your good opinion. You come near me and I'll smash your face for you.
Oh, you're terrible fierce, you are. Oh, I wet me pants.
Clown, you spring my hairpins. Matty's top.
Are these the hands that are going to smash my face? They're as weak as white silk fans. I'm sorry, Kate. You made me mad. You know why?
I do. You're as afraid as I.
I am. You know me like the lashes of your eye.
That's more than you know me, for if you did, you'd see what these 3 years have done to me. Now it's my turn to ask you where you're going.
I begged you not to bring that up again. What can I do?
You can tell Father Cohen and ask him to apply for dispensation, and we can be remarried secretly.
No.
Yes, Matt, now, before it is too late. We aren't married.
Oh, what was that in London? The drunkard's pledge I took.
We're Catholics, Matt. Since when can Catholics make a valid marriage? In a city hall, you have to tell the priest.
Shall I tell him now? Do you take me for a fool to throw away the mayor's chair for that?
I slink to Sunday Mass like a pavement nymph. It's 3 years now since I made my Easter duty. 3 years of telling Father Cohen that we receive at Easter Mass in the cathedral mortal sin on mortal sin, Matt. If I died, I'd go to hell.
I think the woman's crazy.
Don't you believe in God?
Of course I do. And more, my dear, than you who think that he would crush you as a man would crush a fly because of some mere technical mistake.
Mere technical mistake. What's that now, is it? A blasphemous marriage, 3 years, fornication, and now presumption? Technical mistake?
I wish you wouldn't smoke them cigarettes. High tone, though it may be in France and England, it's a whore's habit here.
Those cigarettes. Don't try to hurt me, Matt. You know you can, as I know I can you.
What do you want?
I want to be your wife without disgrace. I want my honor back. I want to live without the need to lie. I want you to keep faith.
Not now, not now.
But you said that for 3 years. What is it you're afraid of?
Losing out. You do not know these people as I do. They turn upon the ones they make the most of. They would on me if given half a chance. And if it got around that we were married in an English city hall, lose out we would.
Matt, losing out. What profit for a man to gain the world and lose his soul?
His soul? That's Sunday school. That's convent falderall. Like making half-grown girls bathe in their drawers to put the shame of their own beauty in them and break their lives to bear the church's bit. We're not priests and nuns, but men and women. The world religious give up is our world, the only world we have, and we have to win it to do the bit of good we all must do. How are we to win the world unless we keep the tricky rules its games are run by? What sin have we committed? Marriage, Kate, is that a sin?
It is with us.
Because you feel it so. It isn't. It's but prudence. What if they should make a scandal of us?
Could we be worse off than we are?
Kathleen.
Could we be worse off than we are, I
Could
say?
We could. You don't know poverty. You don't know what it is to do without, not fine clothes only or a handsome house, but men's respect. I do. I have been poor. Matty, will you run down to the corner and buy me some cigars? Or, Matty, get this gentleman a cab. 9 years. I served Ned Quinn and Agnes Hogan. Day by day, buying my freedom like a Roman slave. Will you have me put liberty at stake? To ease your scrupulous conscience? If you do, you're not the woman I took you for when I married you. Have you no courage, Kate?
Will you lecture me on courage? Do you dare? When every time I walk those stairs to the street, I walk to what I know is an enemy camp. I was not raised like you. And please, Matty, no offense. I miss my home. Poor's habit it may be to smoke, as you say, but it brings back the talk we used to have about old friends, new books, the Lord knows what on our first floor on Bagot Street in Dublin. This following you think so much about. We live in mortal sin for fear you lose it. I never knew the likes of them to talk to person. But they were cooks or maids or peasants at the country houses. Matt, all they can find to talk of. Servants talk, serfs talk, eternal tearing down. I'm like a woman banished and cut off. I've you and May in the flat downstairs, that's all. Now, don't tell me I don't know what poverty is. What bankruptcy is worse than loneliness? They say the sense of exile is the worst of all the pains that torture poor damned souls. It is that sense I live with every day.
Are you the only exile of us all? You slept your crossing through in a rosewood berth, with the swells 100 feet below your portholes, and ate off china on a linen cloth, with the air around you as fresh as the 1st of May. I slept 6 deep, in a bunk short as a coffin, between a poisoned pup of a seasick boy and a slaughtered pig of a snorer from Kildare who wrestled elephants the wild nights through and sweated sour milk. I woofed my meals. Green water and salt beef and wooden biscuits on my hunkers like an ape in a 4-foot aisle as choked as the one door of a burning school. I crossed in mid-December. 7 weeks of driving rain that kept the hatches battened in a hole so low beam a man my height could never lift his head. And I couldn't wash. Water was low. The place was like an ice house. And girls were as thick as field mice in a haystack in the bunk across. I'd have died of shame when I stood in the landing shed of this promised land, as naked as the day I first saw light, defiled with my own waist like a dying cat, and a lousy red beard on me like a tinker's, while a bitch of a doctor with his nails too long dared tell me, in America we bathe. I'd have died of shame had I sailed here to die. I swallowed pride and rage and made a vow the time would come I could spit both out in the face of the likes of him. I made a vow I'd fight my way to power if it killed me, not only for myself, but for our kind, for the men behind me laughing out of fear at their own shame as well as mine, for the women behind the board partition, frightened dumb with worry they'd be sent back home again to starve because they'd dirty feet. I was born again. It came to me as brutal as the cold that makes us flinch the day the midwife takes our wet heels in her fist and punches breath into our dangling carcass. Get power. Without it, there can be no decency, no virtue, and no grace. I have kept my vow. The mayor's chair is mine, but for the running. Will you have me lose it for your convent scruples?
You never told me that about your landing.
There's many things I never told you, Kate. I was afraid you'd hold me cheap.
Matthew, don't you know me yet?
Stand by me. Stand by me, Kate. The next 4 days count hard. By Sunday next, I'll have won all or lost.
What's Sunday next?
The clam bake for Quinn's birthday. We're to make things up between us and make the announcement on the steamer voyage to Seagate Sunday evening. Stand by me, Kate. And as sure as God's my judge, the minute I get into City Hall, the first thing I will do is call the priest and ask him to make peace with God for us. Stand by me, Kate.
I will, though it costs my life.
God, stand between us and all harm. There, now I've wiped those words from your lips. Where's my mind? I brought champagne, and it's as warm as tears. Get the glasses. Let the past be damned. The dead bury the dead. The future's ours.
That Walsh of Albany was no man's fool. The first thing he asked about was Ag Hogan, and then about Matt's temper. You know the time he nearly broke Tim Costigan in two for calling him Hogan's goat? But at last we cleared Matt.
Bessie, Blackjack thinks the nomination will stand.
Stop your tormenting, Petey. Of course it will. Am I assistant leader of this ward and head of the Matthew Stanton Association? And isn't Palsy Murphy boss of Brooklyn and head of the Edward Quinn Association? Walsh said that Father Coyne and the both of us would constitute a due and legal caucus. And he's representative of the party. He ought to know.
Yeah? When does Quinn find out?
Tomorrow morning. It has to be told to him fast. We're to break the news Matt's nominated Sunday at a clam bake for Quinn's birthday down in Seagate.
Was both associations going on this clam bake?
Yes, Murphy's got the job of telling Quinn and getting him to make things up with Matt.
Well, there's one moonlight voyage we'll all be seeing stars. It'll make that riot on the Harvest Queen where that alderman knifed that guy in '87 look like a slapping match at St. Mary's schoolyard. Quinn ain't never given up to no Stanton in no 4 days.
That's off your steel derby. Your head'll be all lumps like a bag of marbles.
You tell him, kid. I'll hold the baby.
Lord, what a pair of Lockermans. That's why Murphy's boss. He can talk a Hindu out of a tiger's mouth. He'll find some cozy way to break the news, and Quinn will purr like a kitten.
Ah, there you are. How are you, Mrs. Legg? How are you, Petey? I thought you might be waiting here for Matt when Josie told me. Why is it so secret?
It won't be secret long with Josie Finn trumpeting it all away from here to Fulton's Ferry like an elephant in the heat. Quinn doesn't know about it. That's why it's so secret.
What's that you're drinking?
Whiskey and water, May.
Give Ma a swallow.
Good Lord, drink it all, why don't you? We're met here to celebrate Matt Stanton's luck, and my wife drags in here with a puss on her like a lead horse in a hearse. What's the matter with you?
I'm sure I'm glad for Matt's sake. He's worked hard, and he's been good, giving us the flat and all. But in a way, you know, Ned Quinn is right. Matt's hard on people. Harder than he should be. He's a lot to answer for before he dies.
You mean Ag Hogan?
Yes, I do.
Poor girl. When I was there this morning, she looked awful.
Oh, she'll never live to comb out a grey head. I've just now come from giving her tea in that coffin of a furnished room in Smith Street. I looked at the cheesecloth curtains hung on strings. And I thought of all those velvet muffled windows, those carpets red as blood and deep as snow, and those tables glistening underneath the lamps like rosy gold in her big house in Seagate. And I said to myself, if it weren't for Agnes Hogan, Matt would be a grocery clerk in Nolan's and not the owner of the Court Cafe and candidate for mayor. And there she lies. And he never once comes near her. Well, for fear, I suppose, they'd call him Hogan's goat, and his missus might find out about their hijinks. But if Matt were any kind of man, wouldn't he go and take her in his arms and say, you hurt me bad 3 years ago, but I hurt you as bad. Forgive and forget.
Forgive and forget. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's because the girl's my niece, but I think I'd feel the same if she were not.
No, be that as it may be. What has passed between them is their affair. It is not ours to judge. Especially after all Matt's done for us. And you'll set this one thinking how Tom Legge left her in a lurch on Baldick Street and spraying us all like a drain pipe in a downpour, if you keep up that way.
Say, listen here, Napoleon the Turd. Legge never found me in no bed with no one like Matt done us, if that's what you're implying.
How could he when he worked the subways nights and was so blind? He couldn't tie his shoes without his nose and the eyelids and his rump in the air like a startled ostrich.
Say that again, I dare you.
No matter now, no matter. It served what it was meant to. Better glares than tears. He'll make a jolly good mayor. He'll make a jolly good mayor, which nobody can deny.
Thanks, Al. What will I say? It's me who should be singing songs to you, not you to me. And I don't know how you've learned that I'm to run for mayor. It's a secret. Ask the man who told you if it isn't. Jack Haggerty. When I returned from England 3 years ago with my new wife, I thought my chances to get back into the party were gone for good. Yet in those 3 short years, you stuck by me so fast. The party made me leader of the ward in which the mayor I had a falling out with lives. And now, you're bent on giving me his place. Ned Quinn.
Is it Ned Quinn you mean, says the Shan Van Vogt. Is it Ned Quinn you mean, says the Shan Van Vogt. He's in Fogatisha Bean, drinking bourbon with some queen. Drinking bourbon with some queen, says the Shan Van Vogt. Let him drink it to the dregs, says the Shan Van Vogt. Let him drink it to the dregs, says the Shan Van Vogt. Cause the scoot that lays go lay. Lays no more for hollow legs, lays no more for hollow legs, says the Shan Van Vogt. Go and tell that swindler. Go and tell that swindler.
Go and tell that swindler.
What the Shan Van Vogt has said. What the Shan Van Vogt has said.
For shame, for shame. Have you no charity? Don't turn upon the man, but on his sin.
Father, sit down. I thought you'd be in bed.
I couldn't sleep. I thought I'd come by here and have a word with Matt alone.
A word or a drink?
What's that you say, Pete Boyle? Speak up, why don't you? And let them see how malicious you can be, and you so drunk.
I didn't mean no harm, Father.
You meant no harm. You're all of you alike. You talk to preen your wit and flex your pride, not to lay bare your hearts or to tell God's truth. Words have more force than blows. They can destroy. Would you punch an old man's face to test your arm? Answer me, Peter Boyle.
You know I wouldn't, Father.
Well, you did as much to me.
I'm sorry, Father.
I hope you are, son. Now, don't look so pious, the rest of you. You're just as bad as him. Dancing around the ruin of Quinn's name like a pack of savages.
Father.
You know, don't you, that a man can commit theft and yet not be a thief by nature, Matt? Once he's made the city restitution, the loss of office is enough chastisement for Edward Quinn. You must not banish him. What purpose would it serve to break a man who slaved for church and people 30 years.
What purpose would it serve? To end corruption? Will you have the big men of the city say that they are right in keeping us cheap labor? Because we're not fit for nobler service. We dirty what we touch. Say that they will, and with full right. Unless we dare cut free from these enfeebling politics of pity and rule the city right, Ned Quinn must go.
Hooray for Stanton, the man is right, God bless him. What answer, Father, can you make to that?
What answer, Blackjack, but the same old answer. Judge not, Matt Stanton, lest yourself be judged. Beware, Matt Stanton, lest in pointing out the mote within your neighbor's watering eye, you overlook the beam that blinds your own.
I'll make no move against Ned Quinn, I promise, unless he moves against me first.
Good, Matt.
For your penance, Petey, draw the priest a beer.
No, not tonight. I won't, Matt. Thank you. I've a matter I'd like to talk to you about, alone.
Sure, Father. Out the lot of you into the bar. The drinks are on the house.
Let the jinkies and the frauds, says the Shan Bock. Let the jinkies and the frauds, says the Shan Bock. Look down on us like gods. We've got Stanton down the odds. We've got Stanton down the odds, says the Shan Bock.
It's no good being delicate. If I tried, I'd put your eye out, Matt, or break your bones. I'll just come out and say it. Go see Ag.
Agnes Hogan, Father.
Agnes Hogan. What other Ag would I mean?
I can't do that.
You can't, or you won't.
One knock at Aggie's door and Josie Finn would be scissoring down 5th place with the wind in tatters around her and at Kate's ear before the latch was lifted. It would all come out.
It should have come out long since. Ag's dying, Matt. Tell Kate about her and go.
Whose fault she's dying? Did you ever know her stop when the thirst was on her? Who poured that whiskey down her 14 months until the lungs were tattered in her breast? Who landed her in Saranac? She was always like that. Whiskey, or clothes, or diamonds, or men. Say what you like of Joe Finn in her tongue. If it wasn't for her, I'd never have found out I was the goat for fair.
Ag was fully clothed, and so was Quinn.
You didn't see them, Father. They were leg in leg when Josie brought me in. Asleep, I grant you. But his ham of a hand was tangled in the fullness of her hair.
You've told me that long since. What's done is done. Don't let the woman die unreconciled. Tell Kate and go to see her.
Yes, but...
What? What can I know of love? A celibate? Numb as a broomstick in my varnished parlor? With my frightened curate jumping at each word and Anne Mulcahy to do my housekeeping without a whisper of complaint? What can I know? Well, putting aside the fact that priesthood is marriage to a partner who's always right, I know that if you don't tell Kate, that others will, before the ink is dry on the campaign posters, and that would be disastrous.
Tell her what?
Don't take that tone with me.
I lived with her. Shall I tell my wife I serviced Ag Hogan 3 years?
If you're trying to shock me, Matt, you're being simple. For 40 years, no Saturday's gone by, I've not sat alone in my confessional from 3 to 9 and heard men spill far blacker things than that. Man, use your reason.
I loved Ag and kept faith.
And who says you didn't?
I loved her and kept faith. I did my part. She played me false with Quinn.
If you loved her, Matt, how is it you didn't marry her? Before she, how did you put it, played you false?
Not to give you a short answer, Father, but don't you think that's my affair?
No, Matt.
It's not the kind of thing you talk to priests of.
You're trying to make me angry, aren't you? Since you won't tell me why, let me tell you. You only wanted Ag for fun and games. You didn't want her on your neck for life. You thought she'd spoiled your chances, didn't you? Your chances for the mayor's chair. You thought that if you married her, they'd call you Hogan's goat to the day you died. Your heart rejoiced when they found the both of them in bed.
You're finished, Father.
No, Matt, I'm not.
You know why you're fuming? Because you're a good man and you feel ashamed. Because I'm saying what you tell yourself. Whatever wrong was done was on both sides. The woman made you what you are today, Matt. The woman is dying. Hogan's good or not, pocket your pride and tell your wife about her. Go talk with Ag and let her die in peace. Or else you'll be her goat in the Bible sense, with all her sins on your head and the world a desert. Do you think I like saying such things to you? I'm trying to help you, Matt.
I had the right to show her no one pays Matt Stanton faults more than one time.
If you had the right, son, why are you screaming at me?
Because you'd have me destroy this new life I've been 3 years building, not only for myself, but for my kind, by dragging my poor wife to the room in my heart where my dead loves are waked.
Tell Kathleen, Matt. Maybe it's that which stands between your son and stiffens both your backs against each other.
Who dares to say that something stands between us? That is a pack of lies.
Is it? Tell Katie, Matt.
It's Aggie Hogan, Father. She's dying. She won't confess to your curate. They want you.
Matty?
Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Will you come with me?
I will, Father. I will. Bless me, Father. I have sinned. 3 years. It is 3 years since I made my last confession. I accuse myself of lying many times.
How many times?
God knows.
With a mind to harm?
God knows.
What ails you? Take hold of yourself.
I did a woman wrong. Tonight she died. Tomorrow is her wake.
What kind of wrong is it you did her?
I lived with her 3 years before I married. They pulled the sheet over her face an hour ago. She lay there sweating, and they around her with their lighted candles. She glowered and said, if such love was a sin, I'd rather not make peace with God at all. They pressed her hard. She shook and shook her head and kept on shaking it until she died. Absolve her through me.
You know I can't do that.
What can you do then?
Absolve you from your sin.
Her sin is mine. Absolve the both of us.
Why did you leave this woman?
She played me false. I found her in the one bed with a man. She stood on the wide porch with her hair down, crying. I walked away. I heard her screaming at me. She told me, go, yes, go, but not to come back, never. She'd rip the clothes she bought me into threads and throw them in the fire. She'd burn my letters and every bit of paper I'd ever put my name to, and she did, I'm sure she did. She was wild by nature. But tonight, when I came back, she stretched out her hands like a fallen child.
Go on.
And I turned away. I cannot rest with thinking of her face and that black look of stubborn joy on it.
And well for you, you can't rest. She died in the devil's arms. In a glory of joy at the filthy shame to her flesh you visited on her. And like all the rest, you come to a strange priest outside your parish in the mistaken hope that he will not judge you, but give you comfort when you need correction. What about this other one you took up with when you threw the dead one over?
Jesus, Father.
Don't take the name of the Lord in vain to me.
I don't know why I came here in the first place.
You came here for forgiveness.
From the likes of you. For 30 years I've put up with your kind, since my first communion. Saturday confession. Spade mutts of men, born with no spice of pride, living off the pennies of the poor, huddled in their fat and basement booths, calling the true vaulting of the heart towards its desire filth and deviation, dragging me and all unlike you down.
Whatever a noble creature like yourself may think of me, I'm here to do God's work. And since that work begins with dragging you down to the earth we all have come from and must all return to, drag you down I will. God lifts none but the humble.
Pride steams off you like the stink of cancer, and you sit there and preach humility.
Take care! I will deny you absolution.
What harm? Who can absolve us but ourselves? I am what I am. What I've done, I'd cause for. It was seeing what life did to her unmanned me. It was looking into her eyes as they guttered out that drove me here like a scared kid from the bogs who takes the clouds that bruise a light for demons. But thanks to the words from the open grave of your mouth, I see that fear for the wind and fog that it is, and it is killed for good. I'm my own man now. I can say that for the first time in my life. I'm free of her. And I'm free of you and yours. From this day forward, I'll not fall to my knees for man or God.
Will you dare to turn your back upon the living God?
Does Matthew Stanton think he can oust me by holding corner meetings in school halls? With craw thumpers and Sunday pass the plates? Blackjack the plug and the Gaga parish priest both nodding yes to everything he says like slobbering dummies. What is it that he said?
Do you want to hear?
Would I ask if I didn't, Palsy?
Well, listen then. I have full notes. I took down everything that Stanton said.
Read it, read it. Do you want applause?
No, Ned. Attention. Now here. My dear old friends, when Father Coyne asked me to speak to you, he said it was about Ag Hogan's bills, a gathering to help raise funds to pay them. I never thought the purpose of this meeting be political.
I never thought the purpose of this meeting. Father Coyne. I roofed his sieve of a church and glazed it too and put a tight new furnace in its cellar. There's not a priest you can trust.
But you're listening.
I'm listening. Go on.
The Party of Reform.
Oh, the Party of Reform. Ah, yes, reform. A Lutheran lawyer with a fly-trap mouth and a 4-bit practice of litigious Swede and a closet ranker's rats down by the river. A lecherous broker with a swivel eye you wouldn't trust with grandma in a hack.
The Party of Reform has in its hands sworn affidavits on the city books, drawn up from careful audit and declaring a hidden deficit of 15,000.
Oh, 15,000! The unfortunates, they couldn't even get that business right. It's 20,000, Palsy, if it's a cent. I'm in the treasury for 20,000.
You say they will expose us to the public unless we guarantee that Edward Quinn resigns as candidate in the next election.
You see, that's Matt's game. He's out to get my job, but he's not the guts to grab it like a man. Will you listen to the cagey way he puts it? You say they will expose us to the public, as sneaky as a rat in a hotel kitchen. Don't you see the cunning of it, James? The craft? It's not my job he's after, but to save the party. And all I did for him, I made him, James. I picked him up 12 years ago when he first came to me, when he was 25, and lost his job for baiting up that grocer. He'd no knees in his pants. His coat was slick with grease as a butcher's thumb. He was all skin and bone. I was sitting here in Fogarty's back room with poor Ag Hogan codding me when he burst in the door and asked me for my help. I'll do anything that's honest, Mr. Quinn, is what he said. He had that grin That crooked grin reminded me of Patrick that's long dead. Patrick, my poor brother.
Go on now, Ned, and leave out the soft soap. He had a crooked grin you knew would serve you well among the women.
Yeah, I should have said, go now and scare the crow's raggedy arse keel. That's all you're good for. But no, there was that grin, and Ag said take him. She loved him, the poor slob, from the day she met him. Fat good it did her. You can put him on with Judge Muldooney, says she. Take him, Ned. God will bless us for it. Oh, Ag is dead, James, dead.
Yes, Ned, she is.
Hey, did Stanton get to see her? Did he?
Yes.
She wouldn't let me in.
Oh, sorry, Ned.
And Stanton's high-toned wife, Kathleen, what did she say when she found out about him?
Well, she didn't. She knows that Ag helped Matt, but nothing else.
And nothing else, I see. Well, where was I, Palsy Murphy?
All I done for him. 5th book, 10th chapter.
Go to hell, James. Wherever you think it's funny, do you? Yeah, I'll give you fun. If it's jail for me, you know it's jail for you, too. No $100 suits or fancy feeds with tarts in rectors drinking cold champagne from glasses bright as ice with hollow stems, but tea from yellowed cups and mulligan foul as the odds and ends they make it, bro.
Yeah, sure, they'll send us pudding.
Are you mad or what? I tell you, I'm in danger. I'm in danger. Don't shake your head. They're spoiling for the kill. It's in their blood.
Whose blood?
Whose blood but our own? They turn upon the strong and pull them down, and not from virtue, James, but vicious pride. For 30 years, I've kept their heads above the water by fair means or by foul. Now they've reached the shore, they'd rather not remember how they got there. They want to disown me. And they're a faithless lot, and Matthew Stanton is the worst of all. Read on, Wed, don't you? What's the matter with you?
I would not stand in this school hall before you if Edward Quinn had not in his full power made of me what I am. I cannot think, since you have shared his generosity as long as I, that you are asking me to help you pull him down.
Oh, good Jesus.
The way to cope with the party of reform is to raise the funds to make Quinn's deficit up. I pledged $3,000, and I ask each and every one of you can to give as much as possible. Ned Quinn must not live out his final days in jail because he was too kindly to be wise.
I want no handouts from the likes of him. Will he pity me?
What's that?
You heard me, James. Will he pity me? Does he think I need his pity? I made him, and I can unmake him, too, and make another in his place. I'm old. I'm too old to live off charity from a green honor picked up in a barroom to run my sweetheart's errands. Oh, don't you see, James? He took Ag from me first. He was young and shrewd. He said he loved her. She ditched me. I'm 20 years her senior. And then that day, that famous Labor Day 3 years ago, we'd had a drink or two, you know, for old time's sake, and we passed out, and that bitch Josephine found out about us and brought Matt in on us, our arms round each other like two children. And he spat on poor Ag's carpet, called her a whore, me a degenerate. 3 years ago, the very year he married this Kathleen, the Lord knows who from the Christ knows where, in some cozy hocus-pocus there in London, to show Ag he could do without her. He never spoke to Ag at all until he found her done for, dying lung by lung. He'd never speak to me at all if I were not in trouble. Oh, don't you see the triumph of it, James? He takes his vengeance in a show of mercy. He weeps as he destroys. He's a crocodile.
Ned,
Ned what?
I hope you won't be hurt. We on the party board agree with Matt. We feel the time has come for some new blood.
We on the party board agree with Matt. Now it comes out at last. It all comes out. You and your pack of lies, your trumped-up story. Pretending to be reading what he said when you can't read a thing that hasn't pictures. Did you think me such a boob I wouldn't know what you and Walsh were up to here last night? It made the rounds of the ward by 9:30. Bismarck the diplomat, you muffaroon. Pouring that vat of soft soap over me. Now, Ned, let's shut up or I'll drink your blood. The only thing rang true in all you said was Stanton's offer to be noble to me.
I wanted to break it easy. Matt made no offer. The party it is will cover you on the books, but on one condition. Ned, you must resign.
I must resign? We'll see who backs out first. I didn't stay mayor of Brooklyn 30 years by taking orders, James. You tell the party board I'll rot in prison before I'll let Matt Stanton take my place. You tell the party board I'll meet the debits the Party of Reform found in the books. You tell the party board they'd best not cross me. Don't look as if you think all this is blather. There's not a one of you that I can't get at. You least of all, James Murphy.
The party will disown you.
Let 'em try. I'll grace the palm of every squarehead deadbeat from Greenwood Cemetery to the Narrows who'll stagger to the polls for 3 months' rent. I'll buy the blackface vote off all the fences down Fulton Street from Hudson Avenue. I'll vote from every plot in Holy Cross with an Irish headstone on it. I'll win this fight.
I'll telegraph Albany. I warn you.
Damn Albany. Get out of here. Get out. Hey, Bill. Bill. Go down to 1070 Luqueer Street, get me Joseph Finn. On second thought, best wait till noon and call me some schoolboy to run the errand for you. If they saw you with her, they'd know it was me that wanted her. And, yes, send to Fitzsimmons and Rooney for a wreath, $100 wreath. And have them spell out this message on a silk gauze band with them gold paper letters. For Agnes Mary Hogan, gone but not forgotten. Go look alive.
I'm sure Matt will have luck for burying Ag, and I didn't Maisie hold the weight here in his own house for all that passed between them.
I'm sorry for your trouble, Mrs. Finn.
My trouble, Petey. Trouble it is for fair. That's Aggie Hogan laid out in there. My dead aunt's daughter that I haven't talked to for, Mother of God, I think it's 3 long years, September.
Well, if you come to crow about it, my ass on you then.
Sir, you presume. John Haggerty.
Now, don't be calling Jack. It'll only cause trouble. Poor Petey boy was always ignorant. He meant no harm talking to you dirty Josie dear.
It's not his talking dirty made me mad. What kind of creature must he take me for to come to crow at my own cousin's wake? You know, Ag wouldn't see me at the last.
Nor would she have the priest. She was crazed with pain, in fever tantrums, don't you know, half dead. She hardly knew what she was doing.
And you're a saint.
Oh, no, Josie, praise is poison. Though I thank you kindly for the kindness behind it.
How can you live, remembering what you've done, unless you are a saint? Or a half-brute, like Quinn in there?
By doing what you must, and begging for the grace to forgive yourself as well as others when you don't do right. Oh, you just reminded me. I wish Ned would go soon. It's getting on towards 8, and Matt will be down.
Oh, Quinn knows that. Sure, Quinn knows everything. Whose money's stained, and how, and whose is not. And who's in whose bed, and who is not, and why. Who's got a shame to hide that he can use to coat his nest with slime against the wind.
There's a bit of skunk in all of us, you know. We stink when we're afraid or hurt. Ned's both.
Pray for me, Anne Mulcahy. I've made a vow on my dead mother's grave to guard my tongue and keep my temper.
God in heaven help you.
It's up to me, not him.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, that's presumptuous.
Oh, then I won't say that. But thinking back on things I've said and done, and my knees all bunions kneeling out in a Venus, if you think God and all his holy angels can shut my mouth once anger oils the hinges, you're more a fool than ever I took you for when first I met you.
Here in the nick of time. Who's calling my lost parish's one saint a fool to her face?
Good evening to you, Father.
Good evening, Mrs. Finn. I'm glad to see your 3 hard years of war with the deceased has ended in some show of gallantry. And what was the fight about? Do you recall?
You well know I do. But what's been is been. She'd have done the same for me.
I'm sure she would. But where would be the harm in that, I ask you? There'd be small danger of much conversation to thaw your icy hearts.
Please, Father Coyne.
Dear God, forgive me. I forgot you, Anne. It's like me to fly out at Mrs. Finn with the one soul left here I could scandalize from Dwight Street to the steps of City Hall. I'll be as gracious as St. Francis Sales to make it up to you, Anne. Now, Mrs. Finn. And how have you been ever since?
Since when?
Since Easter Sunday, 3 long years ago. The last time that I saw you in my church.
There's other churches.
Yes, but not this parish, and that's where you belong. I'm a sinful man. Pray for me, Anne Mulcahy. I'll begin the beads before I throw my 40 years of prayer into the pits of hell to best a slanderer. Will you come with me?
In a minute, Father. The kettle's on the boil.
I have the name as well to have the game.
He meant no harm. He's torn apart with trying to talk sense to poor Ag dying. And he struck at you because you brought the days back. Ag was well. Will you wet the tea? Well, I go on and see if Ned Quinn can't be hurried just a bit. I'm destroyed with worrying that Matt will come.
Why did they put that wedding ring on Ag?
She asked them to. She said it was her mother's.
What harm would there be in it, I'd like to know?
You'd like to. You know damned well what harm. I told you no this afternoon. I meant it. Am I your cat's paw, do you think, Ned Quinn? To pull your poison chestnuts from the fire and feed them to your foes? I told you no.
You didn't think that way the day you led him into the room where her that's dead in there lay in my arms as guiltless as a baby in a fit of drunken warmth she took for love.
More shame to me, I didn't think that way. She was my own blood and she loved the man, and I tried to get between them and broke her heart. It's all my fault she lies dead in there, no one's but mine. And she was good to me. And I betrayed her. Yes, she wouldn't see me, Ned. She wouldn't let me in the room at the last. They say she would not confess her life with Matt. They say she would not call that life a sin. I'll never interfere that way again. If it were not for me, they'd have been married and there'd have been no sin. Has that gone to hell?
Oh.
Do you think that, Ned, for that to be my fault? Have I destroyed her life forever in this world and the next?
You're talking blather. Sure, God's more merciful than Father Coyne. Be sure of that. We'd all have been roasted black long since. Come on. Wouldn't you like to do something for Ag Jo? Something for her dead? That's all I'm asking. Shouldn't Matt pay for what he did? All you'd need to say is a single sentence when the Lady Duchess, Kathleen Kakiak, descends in visitation. Sure, Mrs. Stanton, God will bless you for your charity. Well, my charity, she'll ask. You'll say, you know, Ag having lived with Matt 3 years and all. That's all you'd have to say.
What am I, Ned, that you take me for a fool and villain both? Don't talk to me about your broken heart and how you feel you owe poor Ag revenge. If she'd wanted that, would she have died without the sacraments to spare Matt pain? I know you want to drive Matt from the running, and that should stop of nothing short of murder for one more term as Lord of City Hall. You best give that up, Ned, fast. It'll destroy you.
Give what up?
Your pride. Your murderous pride.
I don't know what you mean by that at all. They're out to get me. I have to fight. They telephoned today at 3:30. Albany says resign or they'll destroy you. I had to send a letter to that bastard throwing in the sponge. But I'm not through yet, and I'll win out. I always have before. But if I go down, I'll not go down alone. You may call that pride if you like. I call it honor.
No, Ned, not honor. Pride. Pride kept me from her. I'd not admit the wrong was on my side. And her with the blood of her heart on her shaken chin in that icebox of a hall room down in Smith Street. The wall at her nose. Sacred heart of Jesus. I should have flung myself on the oilcloth floor and not got up till she gave me pardon. She'd have laughed, called me a young whale, or some such nonsense. She'll never laugh again. Oh, what must Matt feel?
Good riddance to bad rubbish is what he feels.
Well, you never knew Matt, Ned, if you think that.
Oh, I knew him well enough. You're still in love with him.
What's that to you?
And him with the worst word in his mouth for you, as he always has had.
I don't believe you, Ned.
Well, no one believes me now. Stanton's your god, and that's as it should be. You're traitors all, as fickle as the sunlight on April Fool's Day. But there'll come a time you'll say Ned Quinn was right.
What kind of a thing is it he says of me?
No matter. You'd not believe me if I told you.
What does he say?
For one thing, you're two-faced, and well enough, since the face you were born with is like a madman's arse.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Ned Quinn, that sounds like you, not him.
Have it your own way. I'm old. I'm all dust mice upstairs. I find it hard to lay my mind on recollections. Yet it seems to me I can recall a toast Matt drank his birthday night at Villapeg's 2 weeks before we had that fight in Seagate. He was fingering that green silk tie, the one that you embroidered those gold shamrocks on.
How do you know I gave Matt that tie?
Oh, he told me when he gave the tie to Petey.
You made that up.
He raised his glass and laughed and said, "Confusion to the devil that's bent Joe Finn as fast around my neck as a coop around a barrel and her legs as loose as her lying tongue."
God's curse on you for that!
God's curse? I'm only speaking the truth. Oh, come to your senses, woman. He played me false, and Ag, and her he's married to, Kathleen. What makes you think that you are the bright exception?
Because I know Matt to be a good man, Ned. Oh. Not a poisonous old woman of a thief destroying names to keep himself in office.
A thief, I'll get what I want without you. And when Stanton plays you false, don't whine to me.
I will not play her false, nor will I you. I got your letter and I thank you for it. I'm sorry my winning means your loss.
Wait, Ned.
I swear I'll see you through this trouble. I want to be your friend again. Shake hands. Come on, man. And what better place than here I'm sure Ag would have wanted it. Come on.
Good God, the goat can talk. When Ag was living, though, you rarely met the livestock in the house.
You keep him! Go, Ned, go. Remember Ag, Matt, please. No disrespect.
Oh, Matt, please, here. Oh, pay him no heed. Sure, what need of you to care what a thief thinks who's been found out?
I'll thank you to keep out of this, Joe Finn. You always were one for interfering.
Why take things out on me? It was he spit at you.
Matt, are you crazed or what? You've hurt the woman's feelings.
Kate, come ahead. Where are the Haggertys?
Inside with the rest. Inside in the parlor.
Matt, beg your pardon.
For what? For what? Don't waste your sympathy on that one. Stay as clear of her as can be. She has a wicked tongue. Watch out for her.
The woman heard you.
Devil a bit I care now. Will you come into the parlor?
Matt, she's crying.
Joseph.
Never mind, Matt. I heard you.
Devil take you then for your big ears.
Well, the devil take me, Matt.
Please, please, Mrs. Finn.
Go in now to the wake and let me be.
What's this that Mrs. Stanton's after saying about a fight between her man and you?
I'm not the kind that would demean myself by having words with the likes of him, Mariah.
The likes of him? What is this all about? I never heard you talk that way of Matt.
I never found him out till just now. He treated me like dirt. Who was he to be so high and mighty? Hogan's goat. Fancy boy made good. Ag's fancy boy.
You shut your mouth or I will shut it for you. Matt's broken up because of Aggie's death. That's why he lost his temper. That and Quinn, bad luck be with the day I let him in here. I'll not have you make trouble for Matt, Joe. I want you to come into the parlor now and take Matt's hand.
He should take my hand.
Will you come in if he comes out to you first?
I'll make no promises.
Oh, why, Mrs. Stanton?
I'd like to talk to Mrs. Finn alone. Mariah, just a moment or two alone. Mrs. Finn, please. Matthew meant no harm. He has a dreadful temper, you know that, and he's like a scalded cat since yesterday when he got the news that Agnes Hogan died. He told me just how much she'd meant to him when he was starting out on his career. You know that better, maybe, than myself.
He told you that, did he? Did he tell you how he lived with her 3 years in a state of sin in a love nest of a roadhouse down in Seagate and the devil take the talk? And did he tell you, too, she drank herself consumptive for his sake because he threw her over 3 years since when he got all he wanted from her, missus, and married you?
The mirror's broken.
Yes. That means bad luck.
I know it does. But now I can see plain. Just as it says in 1 Corinthians. When I was a child, I saw as a child does. Saw what I loved as in a mirror darkly. But now I see his face.
This night of all nights, when I've Quinn's note resigning in my hand, the bitch of a Josie Finn with her snake's tongue. Where have you been till now? Where did you get it?
Did I get what, Mac?
The drink that's crazed you.
In your own back room with a woman named Miss Legg. Miss Bessie Legg. She'd yards and yards of beads on, and a hat like a berry patch attacked by magpies, and a fancy neckpiece like 12 Persian cats all tied together. You'd think she'd blow away at the first breeze with all those... The mirror's broken.
Yes. That means bad luck.
I know it does. But now I can see plain. Just as it says in 1 Corinthians. When I was a child, I saw as a child does. Saw what I loved as in a mirror darkly. But now I see his face.
This night of all nights, when I've Quinn's note resigning in my hand, the bitch of a Josie Finn with her snake's tongue. Where have you been till now? Where did you get it?
Did I get what, Mac?
The drink that's crazed you.
In your own back room with a woman named Miss Legg. Miss Bessie Legg. She'd yards and yards of beads on, and a hat like a berry patch attacked by magpies, and a fancy neckpiece like 12 Persian cats all tied together. You'd think she'd blow away at the first breeze with all those feathers on her.
Could you do a thing like that to me? Get paralyzed for everyone to gawk at, and with the district whore.
Oh, that is she. Birds of a feather flock together, Matt, and whore will meet with whore. It's what I am. We aren't married, we aren't. You know that. Isn't it the same as you and Agnes?
Jesus, Katie.
Are you hurt bad, man?
It's nice of you to ask.
You son of a bitch, I'll kill you!
Katie, what's the matter with us both?
What can a woman say when she learns the man she left her country and her God to marry has married her to show his cast-off mistress that he can do without her? Or even worse, only to earn his good name back again.
I married you because I love you, Kate.
Then why was I the one soul in this city that didn't know of you and Agnes? Why?
I didn't want to hurt you.
Well, you have. How do I know you won't abandon me if I don't get you what you want from life?
Don't say such things.
No wonder it seems strange. Your what do you call them? Your constituents. And none of them could look me in the face for fear they might let on. And didn't Bessie Legg tell me she thought the only reason Agnes Hogan went to bed with Quinn was to prove to herself that there was someone loved her? When she saw your feelings for her dying like wet coal and realized she'd lost you? How do I know the same thing will not happen to myself? And people won't be saying a year from now, Kate went the same way as the poor dead whore.
Kate, don't call her that.
Oh, why not? Don't they?
They don't. And don't you call her out of name. You never knew her. And the talk you've heard has been about her as she was in public, stripping the heavy diamonds off her fingers to keep the party going one more hour. I knew what lay behind it. It was mine. Her will to fullness. She contained a man as the wind does the first giddy days of spring when your coat blows open and your blood beats hard, as clear as ice and warm as a chimney wall. 'Twas she first gave me heart to dare be free. I was 25 years old when first I met her. I'd never...
What?
I was what you'd call a virgin.
The saints preserve us.
Yes, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then. It was she who wooed me. It seemed, Lord knows I don't, unnatural. She was 10 years my senior. But oh, Kate, to look at her downstairs, you'd never know what one she was. Her hair was bronze and silver, like pear trees in full bloom. Her eyes were opal. Her skin was like new milk, and her blue veins trembled in the shimmer of her full straight neck like threads of violets fallen from her hair and filliped by the breeze. And when she asked me would I work for her, would I run the gaming rooms at Seagate for her and keep her out of trouble, I said yes. And when she asked me would I be her man, I'd have said yes. But I could scarcely breathe between a want and a fear of her. I nodded. I never knew a man to say no to her. Until I did myself. That Labor Day, I caught her in the one bed with Ned Quinn. I looked her in the eyes, and I said no. I'll play the fancy boy to you no more. That's what I was, Kathleen. Ag's fancy boy. I was Hogan's goat to everyone. Ag's stud. All my high hopes for power and for office fell down around my ears like a spavined roof when I first heard them call me that. And Kate, when it comes to feelings, that was my side too. I might have been some tethered brute in the yard the way she acted. That last year, she seemed bent on driving home to me. She was all I had. Without her, I was nothing. Even after Newark, she never changed.
What happened in Newark?
Nothing. I don't know why I brought it up in the first place. We had a fight. I left her. I went to Newark. She followed me. We made it up. That's all. Let's not talk about it. It brings things back.
You loved her, didn't you? You love her still.
Ag's dead, Kathleen. How can you love a corpse? And in my heart, she's been that these 3 years. Part of me lay dead as a horse in the street in that house in Seagate till I met you in London. It was as if God had sent me down an angel to bring me back from the grave. That's why I asked you to marry me in that London City Hall without the 8 weeks wait to cry the banns and come back with me right away. I was afraid. I was afraid I would lose you if I left and waited here for you till the banns were cried. I swear to you, on my dead mother's grave, as soon as the election's passed, we'll marry right in St. Mary's Church and damn the gossip. I didn't tell you.
Why?
I was ashamed that I was ever young. I wanted you to think I knew my way around from birth.
Lord help us.
Somehow, even more, I was ashamed that I had let her woo me like a girl, and I could not resist her or say no for 3 long years. It was that slavery I was ashamed of most.
That slavery, my dear, is love.
What is it you just said?
I'm terrible drunk.
Sure, don't I know that? And if you weren't, Kate, should be a widow, you'd have brained me good and proper with that mirror if your eye had not been blurred.
But I see plain.
Kate, come on, let me help you into bed.
You never came to look for me, did you?
I did. I couldn't find you.
Tell the truth. You were too proud. He sat up here and waited. You knew I would come back like a hungry cat. Like Ag Hogan. Call to her, why don't you? She'll stiffen in the coffin at your voice and drag herself up those dark stairs outside on her bare feet. They never put shoes on them. She's back to where she was before in Ireland. The dirt will clog her toes.
Jesus, Katie.
Don't you understand me, Matty?
Come on now, Kate. The fire's sunk. You'll catch your death of cold if you keep up this way. Come on, to bed, Kate.
No, never.
Katie, what is the matter?
I looked at her downstairs. I feel afraid. They said death visits 3 before it's done. I looked at her sewn lips, her spotted hand with a wedding ring you never gave her on it. They said it was her mother's. Poor Aggie, Matt. Poor you and me. I don't want liberty. Don't leave me, Matty, please. I feel afraid.
Oh, talk, shush. No, darling, don't be talking.
It isn't God I want. It's you. Oh. Oh. I wanted to go away mad, but I couldn't. Those things you said about you and Ag Hogan, about resenting how you felt about her, they go for me. Mad, we're like twin children. The pride is in our blood. I'd like to kill you or die myself. You understand me, Matty? Don't let me. I'm sick with shame. I love you.
You're crying drunk.
In vino veritas. There's truth in drink.
God. Now she's quoting Latin. And me so ignorant that all I know is I'm cold and I want my wife beside me before I can feel warm again or rest. Ag's dead, Katie. Dead. But, Katie, we're alive. Come with me. Out of the cold. Ag's gone for good.
Watch what the hell you doing, creeping up on parties like the Black Hand. Good Lord, it's you. What are you doing here? You want to start a riot?
Go easy, Bessie. You'll have them in here. I tell you what to do. Go get 2 doubles and tell them at the bar you'd like to be alone in here while you have a customer.
I'm through with that.
I'm through with that, she says, and her stares in splinters from the arm is charging up and down them nights. Oh, don't stand there with your mouth sprung open like a busted letterbox. Go and get the drinks. Keep watch outside now, Bill. Give the door a kick if you see that bastard coming. If the trunk is there and the box is in it, I'll pass you out the key.
When I don't say private, I mean private, Percy. Didn't your mother teach you manners? No! That's for nothing. Touching a person when a person's helpless. Shut the door, you get a bourbon eye wash. Honest, if there ain't more snots than noses, I'm the Mother Superior of Good Shepherds. Here's your lassie drinks. That was a 10 spot. Them drinks were 40 cents.
Why are you since?
You didn't come here for no dish of tea.
As a matter of fact, I came to ask a favor. And I missed you at the wake. That's why I'm here.
You didn't miss me, kid. I didn't go. Dead people make me nervous. What's his favor?
I hear you've been spelling out May Haggerty, looking after Ag this past year, Bessie. I wonder, did Ag still have a cowhide trunk?
A yellow leather trunk, she did.
Where is it now?
Oh, it's around the corner in her room in Smith Street. The Haggertys didn't have time to cart it off.
There's something in it that I'd like to have for a keepsake, don't you know? Have you the key?
The key to Ag's room? Yeah.
Good. Give it here.
What's in this trunk you want?
Oh, it's an onyx brooch. It was my poor old mother's. I gave it Ag when I first met her.
She ain't got that now. I seen that tin box she kept her things in 2 days ago. That's where May got the ring they're burying Ag in. That's all there was, that and some old papers.
Oh, I'd like to see those, too.
Why?
Why, to see that there are no receipts that might fall into wrong hands.
You go ask Maisie. I got no right to give no key to you. Those things are hers now.
Lord, I can't do that. Now, come.
There's something in that trunk that'll cause trouble. I'm gonna take and give that key to Mac.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, child. Remember what you told them at the bar? You'd like to be alone in here a while. You have a customer. Shall I call the cop and have you up on lewd solicitation? Would you like a 3-month course in sewing mailbags in the women's prison? Bessie, smarten up. Give me the key. Where'd you think you were going?
Ain't you finished with me yet?
You sit down, my dear. You'll not leave this room till that box is in my hands. You'd be up the street and it mats here in no time like a wasp at a pear. Sit down when I tell you. Would you like another drink while we're waiting, Bessie?
I wouldn't drink with you if I had the Jim Jams. And every crack in the wall had a rat's snout in it.
I know how my morality must offend a fine, upstanding woman like yourself. You always were a great one for the crying.
I guess I've done some bum things in my life. This is the first time I ever ratted.
Ratted, my dear? I don't know what you mean. I told you all I wanted was old receipts. I gave this box to Ag myself. The lock was always window dressing. How could I know when there might be something here that I'd like to see? Will you look at this? A bundle of scorched letters. Matt Stanton, Esquire, care the G.N.P.O. Newark, New Jersey. Well, that's where Matty went when he slipped Ag's tether here in sea. Oh, look, the tie that Josie made for Matt. And a dried camellia. And a pair of busted garnet rosaries and this. Oh, dear God in heaven, look at this. A letter with no salutation on it. It has no date. You're dead to me because I'm dead myself. I have been since you left me. If you think I mean to cause you trouble for what you've done, you never knew me. You've made your dirty bed. Now lie in it till you feel the filth in your bones. Oh, no more, no more. Ag always was too proud. She never sent it.
Put them things all back. They don't belong to you.
Wait now. There's a trick to this false bottom. There it goes. If it isn't the kind of receipt I knew would be here. It's charged. She meant to burn it. But you can read it.
Give me them things.
I only want that, Bessie. Now, I'm through. We can part now. Now, don't worry, child. I'll put these things back in the box, and Bill can return it and lock the trunk and the room behind him. But mark me, Bessie, you're not to say a thing of this to Stanton. He's a worse suspicious mind than your own, and we've got to come, you know, to a meeting of minds at the Clambake on my birthday Sunday, Bessie, Stanton and I. It'd only throw him off if he heard I'd been going through Ag's things, and we wouldn't want that now, would we, any more than you'd want that stretch in jail. I hope you take my meaning. I must leave you, Bessie.
I hope you rot in hell.
You must love me, child, that you should want my company forever.
One hour more and we'll be in the Seagate. That's what the deckhand says. I'm glad of that. 2 hours more of sailing, I declare to God, and the babies all would be drunk in their carriages.
Now, where's Mrs. Maid? Will I bring a tea to her?
No, let her sleep. She's dozed off in Matt's stateroom. The brandy must have killed the queasiness.
Oh, Petey, come to the front of the boat. You can see the electrolyte there and that hotel they built like an elephant. Why don't you all come, God? It's beautiful.
I asked me mother for 50 cents to see the elephant jump the fence. He jumped so high she touched the sky and never came down to the 4th of July. 4th of July she danced to earth and landed near me fat and girt. Said she, you lumpy pig-eyed skunk, stay off the south of you get the drunk.
You'll meet with him here, then?
I will, Father. I'll meet with him anywhere, but he will come to me.
I'll go and get him.
Will you look at that now, Billy? Brooklyn, how are you? For the public good. A whore for a mayor and a spoiled nun for his lady. We mustn't let that happen now, must we? Play loose, me, Billy. Here's the lot of them. Well, if it isn't the Lord Beaconsfield of Brooklyn, with the 10 thumbs of his fine Italian hands done up in ice cream gloves. How are you, son?
I'll speak no word until he begs my pardon. I told you, Father. As he grown so old and silly, he thinks a man may do harm without amends.
Do you want him to get on his knees to you? He's lost enough already. Leave him his pride.
The food in the mouth of the voters is at stake. It's bread and lard for lunch for thousands and thousands that this election is lost. And it will be lost unless you join your hands and pull together.
In spite of all that's passed between us, I'll shake his hand if he will mine.
Come on now, Matt.
When he gets as old as I am, he'll understand that it was death I spat at that night at the wake and wish he'd come to terms with an old man's rage.
Go on now, Ned. You're not that old. You've years. There's years of use in you.
Oh, Matt.
I heard it said that when a man shakes hands with his foe, a suffering soul shoots out of purgatory straight into heaven like a lark from a cage.
And what council was it Palsy declared that dogma?
Sister Mary Asaphita de Doyle, his 4th grade teacher.
To the saloon bar, drinks for all comers, and on the party too.
You know, Matt, if you left the land into me, I could drive it home to all what terms we're on and make the kind of an occasion of it your missus would remember all her life.
Ah, that's just a thing maybe might pick her up. The water made her qualmish and she lay down.
Oh.
You've never met Kathleen to talk to, have you?
No.
Come down with me now and I'll introduce you.
You'll have my stomach burst with all that tea.
Never mind, you've a night of drink before you. Keep moving on with on.
Have a little respect.
Didn't I tell you it was beautiful?
Going back to Seagate's a bit sad. Poor egg in the ground just yesterday.
Yeah, ain't it? Yeah. I wish it was Coney instead. The shoot.
The tunnel of love.
You should see Pete jigging. He's the best there is. He learned me how.
Come on, kid, we'll show them how.
Now, they'll show us, will they? Stand up to me there, woman, and we'll show them how we won the branch and bottle on the pounded cork of every Carry crossroad.
I gave it to Anna. She says, oh, Hosanna, the leg of the duck, the leg of the duck. I gave it to Molly. She said it was jolly, the leg of the duck, the leg of the duck. He gave it to Maisie, it near drove her crazy, the leg of the duck, the leg of the duck. I gave it to Bessie, she says it was messy, the leg of the duck, the leg of the duck.
What kind of song is that in front of my wife?
We didn't see her, Matt.
Are you blind or what? You narrow-backed plug with your mouth of slime. You can slather this one all that you've a mind to, but there are others born with a little shame. I'd be amazed at you two, May and Jack. If I'd not noticed the liberties you've been taking these past few months, there'll be an end to that.
All right. There'll be an end to it. Come, May and Ann. We best go inside now.
Oh, wait, we'll come with you. I'll help you lug these things.
Mariah, dear, come back in a few minutes. I need you, please. I'm not myself at all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Beg their pardon, Matty. They didn't see me, and what harm if they did? They were only dancing.
Things have changed now, Kate. You've got to demand respect or you won't get it. From this day on, they're to learn their place and keep it. We're with them, but not of them. I've won, Kate. Quinn and I have made it up, and he wants to meet you.
That's what winning means. God help us both.
What is the matter?
It's being aboard a ship. It's that, I suppose. When I watch the wake of the boat spread out like a pigeon's tail with the wind going through it, I think of all that's left behind or cancelled. And the heart of me feels pillaged in my breast. The farther away I go from what is past, the more I stiffen with a sense of danger. I look around me at all and want to hold it. There's not a thing that is not riches, Matty. And it all goes from us, darling. Like those days on the boat from England, glazed with salt and sunshine, we melted first into light like flame and candle. It all goes from us. Hold me, Matty, hold me. Don't thrust me from you as you just did then.
Oh, Katie, I'd sooner hack the hands from my wrist than thrust you from me. We've won. We've won, Kate. Quinn's arranged the landing. You'll be breathing music like the saints in heaven as you walk ashore. But let him tell it you. What is that? Brandy that I smell on you?
I took a glass or two for the seasickness.
Promise me on your dead parents' grave you'll drink no more from this time on. There's no sight worse on earth than a drunken woman. I know it to my shame from her that's dead.
I promise, Matty.
There now. I'll get the mayor.
You mind if I sit down? You remember me?
Of course I do. Miss Legg, please do sit down. I'm pleased to see you.
It isn't Miss, it's Mrs.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Legg, of course.
Was he there mad just for that dirty song that Petey sung? Or was that something that Quinn said to him that he took out on us? You know what I mean?
No, I don't, Miss Legg. I don't know what you mean.
Not Miss, it's Mrs.
What would the mayor say? Matt's just gone in to get him. They're friends now.
They're friends now. Yeah, they're friends.
What is it, please?
Oh, He hurted my feelings, see, the way he talked, and I got nervous. I'm a nervous girl. That, and you know, what you said up my flat that night, about there was some mix-up in the marriage, sounded so romantic when you said it. The man I left my God and country to marry. I couldn't make it out. You was awful, you know.
If I said that, I was awful drunk indeed. You didn't believe me, did you, Mrs. Lake?
Oh, no. Oh, no. But I didn't know where you was before I went and took you up my flat. I thought maybe Quinn got wind of it.
I hope you've not repeated what I said. You haven't, have you?
Excuse me, please. I'll be going.
Now, don't be that way.
What do you think I am? Some kind of rat? I thought you was a sport. You're like the rest. I seen you looking around when I brought you back up my flat that night. It's not my fault the place is such a mess. I only rent it, see? It isn't mine. We only just got it when you passed out. I mean, when you fell off to sleep. I didn't like to make no noise. It's hard to keep things nice. There was a time I had things beautiful when Leg was living with me. Leg, you know, my husband. I passed the flat we used to have on Baltic Street in Court the other day. We lived in it 2 years. I kept it spotless. The windows all were dirty when I passed. The windows of the flat we used to have, I mean, they were all dirty. That nearly broke my heart. I had a lovely home. I used to have canary bird, piano, everything. It isn't my fault Leg left. I mean, where he is, Christ knows. Maybe he's dead. I hope to God he is. May God forgive me, but I hope he is.
Oh, Bess, God in heaven, help us.
Hey, who turned on the hydrants?
Oh, hello, Petey. Buy me a drink or something, will you, huh?
Sure, kid, sure.
Goodbye.
Are you coming, little Eva?
Don't worry, missus. Don't. There ain't no quarrel. There ain't no one can hurt you. You're a lady.
Seagate! Seagate! In 10 minutes, Seagate.
I brought you this.
I won't, I promise, Matt.
Oh, house devil and street saint, sure he's worse than Quinn. He's down there now with Quinn playing King of England. Ah, there'll come a time he'll see there are some things in the world you can't take back. Oh, good Jesus, Mrs. Stanton, what's the matter? Promise or no, best have a drop of this.
Promise or no.
Oh, you'll feel the good of that.
Do you know what I'm thinking about, Mariah? How it is this time of year back home in Ireland.
Oh.
The foxglove has come out in the boreens, and the seals are barking on the mossy rocks below Mount Brandon. On this very day, they'll dress the loveliest girl in all the village in a wedding gown and lead her to the church to put a crown of roses on the Virgin. And all the children in communion clothes, white suits and dresses, smilax wreaths, pearl prayer books, will stand around her as she climbs the ladder and sing that song that always makes me cry. Daughter of a mighty father, maiden patron of the May, angel forms around thee gather, macula non est in te. Macula non est in te. Never spot was found in thee. What's the matter with me? My ears are ringing like a field of weeds, noontime in August when the sun's raw fire.
I wonder, is it flashes?
It's my age.
Oh, more likely kicks. Are you all together, missus?
Am I what, Mariah?
Have you missed your term? Oh, don't bite your lip and blush. You're not a nun.
No, I've not missed my term.
Oh. Then it's the dead.
The dead?
The dead. Who do you know needs prayers? They say that's how the dead call on the living, by whining in their blood.
Poor Agnes Hogan, the Lord have mercy on her and preserve her.
Oh.
Don't look so troubled, May. I'm better now. You know, there's a bottle of that Worth perfume downstairs in the stateroom in my reticule. Would you bring it to me, dear, with a handkerchief?
Good evening, Mrs. Stanton. May I?
Please do, Your Honor.
Matt's stuck in the bar buying drinks for all the upright voters, so I came alone. It'd fill your eye to see him. You'd think you trusted him.
God forbid he shouldn't trust them, Mayor.
Oh, if you think, my dear, not trusting people's a sin, you'd best get out of politics.
But it's the worst sin. Without trust, there can be no faith or hope or love.
Ah, that kind of talk is like a penny cream puff, all wind and way, and deadly when it sours. Trust no one, missus, no one. Let no man too close. They're as quick to fury as to love. There's no reason in their ugliness, no justice in their rage. Trust no one, missus.
Who are they? Is it my husband, or old John Haggerty, or Mr. Murphy? And from what you say, you think the people devils who've honored you as mayor of the city for 30 years. Do you really think them that?
I do. And Matthew Stanton is the worst of all.
Do you think I'll sit and listen to your slander?
Do you think this, do you think that, or don't you? Faith, hope, and love, and I mustn't slander. You're awful pious for a woman who's living with her husband in a state of mortal sin. And a mortal sin it is for a Catholic woman to marry with a man outside the Catholic Church. I don't know much about religion, but I know that, as indeed do all our holy voters.
I suppose you must have got that from Miss Lake.
No, my dear, from England, where you did it. I've known it years. I hoped I'd not have to use it, but need is need. And it isn't Miss, it's Mrs.
You rejoice when people go wrong, don't you, Mayor?
We've no time now to talk morality. We'll wait here for Stanton, then go get Father Coyne and the rest of them, and walk down to my stateroom and arrange what we're to say. I've bought off those accountants, paid back the little sum from the funds I borrowed, and the books are doctored. All that now remains is to find a way to break the joyous news that I will run again. I think Matt should do it.
If you're a man who'd ruin 2 reputations to gain your ends, what have you done with your life?
What I've done with my life is my affair. Do you think I'll let that bastard take my office? I loved the woman that he took from me, but I let her go with him, and I kept my office. And I heard them here in Seagate making sport of all I'd done for them, but I kept Mum, and I kept my office. And I watched the poor bitch die while he grew high and mighty, but I kept my office. Keep my office, will I, till the day I die. And God help those who try to take it.
It makes sense. The scandal about the funds is a public fact. But you and Mrs. Legg are the only ones who know about the marriage. Spare my husband, spare him, Mayor. God will bless you for it.
Aye, that's what Ag said when she prayed it for him the first day she met him. The poor slob did. God bless her, missus.
They'll never let you run. They'll gang up with the party of reform and crucify you.
We'll see about that. You think I'll let them turn their backs on me and turn their backs on me for the likes of him? A narrow-backed pimp who rose to where he is on the broken heart of the woman I love.
Pour all the venom you want into my ears. The party will stand by us. They'll stand by us. They'll cover us on the marriage. And they should. For though we were not married in the church, may God forgive us, we are man and wife.
I wouldn't be too sure of that now.
What do you mean by that, you lying devil?
Oh, lying devil, am I? Take a look at that. Look at it, why don't you? You blind? How can you be his wife when he married Arg in the Sacred Heart in Newark in '86?
Sea gates, everybody off.
All gone. All gone. God damn the day I met him. God damn this mouth that spoken fair. These eyes that flooded my blood with his face. God damn this flesh that kindled in his arms, and this heart that told me, say yes to everything he asked. It would have been better had I not been born.
For God's sake, Mrs., don't take on like this. We got to keep it quiet. There's people watching.
It's not in the courts reformers work that it needs striving hard. Look at you. Look at you, for the love of Jesus, in front of all these people. You're owl-eyed drunk with the bands about to five us off the boat. I'll get Mariah to help you sober up. You're not fit for decent men to be seen with.
Did you think that? Did you think that when you lied to me in London and I let you marry me in the City Hall because you said you couldn't wait for the band, you wanted me so much? Did you think that when you had me in the bed in sacrilege above the corpse of your true wedded wife, Ag Hogan?
Open it, can't you? He may be right behind us, and I'll not stand in the one hole with him. We'll be out of here before the week is done if I have to beg to do it.
Now, Mariah.
Now, Mariah, Father, are we saints? If he got on his knees to me, I'd not forgive him.
It's nice of you to let us wait here for him. Hey, you must be tired.
I'll not close an eye until I'm out from underneath this roof.
Come into the parlor, Father. I'll light the fire. You're famished with the cold. May bring the whiskey. Come in, Petey boy. Come in all.
Where do you think you're going? Answer me.
I'm going home.
Your home is here with me.
You haven't even the grace to beg my pardon. How can you look me in the face again?
It's I should ask that question. It's all over. They gave the nomination back to Quinn. He brought me to the pitch of hope and then betrayed me, and you stood by and let him do it to me.
It ill becomes your man to talk betrayals. Can you tell me whom you've known, you've not betrayed? You killed Ag Hogan, but you won't kill me.
I had the right to leave her. She played me false.
Have you the right to marry me? The right to cut me off from all that I hold holy?
With all that you hold holy, our precious church have granted me a divorce from Agnes Hogan, an adulteress.
What kind of man are you? That woman died without the sacraments because in her last fever she was afraid if she confessed her sins, she might betray you. She died cut off from God to spare you harm. And you have the worst word in your mouth for her. Do you know why? Because you're no good, man. You waited for your chance to throw her over. You saw that with her you'd been nothing, nothing. You had to be the mayor of this city and she was in the way. You married me to make yourself respectable again. That's the only reason.
I loved you, Kate. Kathleen. I've nothing left. I need you.
Yes. To patch your kick-down fences. But I have my pride, too.
Go, then. God damn you. Do you think I'll kneel on the floor and beg your help? I never begged for help from man or God, and I won't now. You'll not drive me to my knees.
Sit and tell me you have nothing left. No more have I. You've taken it out of me by demanding more than anyone can give. That's what evil is. The starvation of a heart with nothing in it to make the world around it nothing too. Oh, you never begged from man or God. You took. You've taken all your life without return. You never gave yourself to a single soul for all your noble talk. Even in bed, you stole me blind.
Get out of here. Get out. You're not a woman. You're a would-be nun. You were from the beginning.
God help you, Matt. I'll book my passage quickly as I can. There's nothing in these trunks. Your money bought me. Leave May the key. The express will call for them. I put the jewelry in the velvet box in the top drawer of the bureau by the window and left the dresses and the sable coat hanging in your wardrobe. And that perfume you bought me is on the vent. Don't look so black. You're free now, Matt. That's what you've always wanted. Marry if you like. I'm not your wife. I never was.
You mean to leave me here alone?
I'm sorry, man. But that's the way we all are. But for God.
You'll not leave me. I'll see to that.
Good Jesus, May.
Holy.
How did it happen, man? Give me a whiskey, Pete. Poor Mrs. Stanton.
Oh, Jack, May, is that the father there? I'm tired, shame, and a disgrace to get so legless drunk. I fall downstairs like an unwatched child.
Katie, on your head. Petey, go get Boylan on the beat. Tell him to get a doctor that's still up. There's been an accident.
That's right, that's right. I caught my heel on the baluster and fell.
I seen a guy fall off a hoist on Pier 16. His head was bent like that. Her neck is broken.
Stop your nattering and go get the doctor.
I must go, too. I have a thing to do, I must.
You get away from her so I can hold her.
Easy with her, Matt.
Katie, you were right. I've taken without return all my life. And I have to face to call Ned Quinn corrupt. The harm I've done and called it good. Harm. I saw that harm in Aggie Hogan's face. Now I see it in yours. Can you forgive me?
Hush now, Matt, darling. Talk shinish. Let others talk. We'll keep our own safe counsel. There's been shame enough already without more. Do you know what stopped my breath upstairs? I love you still. I thought I was on the boat from England. There's few who have been as happy as we were. Is that the father there? I want the father.
Here I am, child. Here I am, just beside you.
Oh, my God. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee.
You're not to die.
The boat from England, Matty.
Yes, we'll have that again. I'll make it up to you. I'll make it up. We'll go back home to Ireland. I'll give the Court Cafe to Jack to run, and we'll go back home and take a high-stooped house in one of them good squares. I mean, those squares. Why don't you answer me? Don't turn away. Where in the name of Jesus Christ, the doctor?
She's dead, you know, Matt, boy.
You're lying, man. You think I have no feeling in my flesh? She's as warm as a newborn child. We're going home. I sprung her hairpins on her. Oh, good God in heaven. I was making love to nothing. She is dead.
Get up, please, son. Let me finish giving her conditional absolution.
Absolve her, Father. Absolve your God, why don't you? He did this. When she found out the marriage was no good, she packed her trunks upstairs. She meant to leave me. She never died in drink. She never fell. I flung her down the stairs to keep her here. I thought she'd sprain her ankle. Stay away from me. I'll spit in your face if you come near me, Father.
Go easy, son. Go easy.
Get up now, Matt, boy.
Yes, Matt. You have to follow Boylan to the precinct. When there's a question of murder, it's the law.
Mariah, lay my wife out on the bed with some degree of decency. And spill that bottle of the Worth perfume she loved over that bedspread that she was so proud of. And sit with her till the coroner comes. I'll not have her stink or lie alone with all her sins on my head in the world a desert. Daisy, Jack, Petey, Bessie, Father, help me. The love of Jesus, help me. Dear God in heaven, help me and forgive me.
God have mercy on her. Our election's lost.
I never meant to do this to you, Matt. I didn't know. I never meant to do it. I only meant to look out for my good. I'm nobody. I'm no one. If I'm not the mayor, I'm nothing, Matt. I'm nobody. I'm nothing.
Why you standing round like imbeciles? Carry her up the stairs and lay her out as Matty asked you to. Well, you may cry. Cry for us all while you're at it. Cry for us all.